This, my dear friends, is my deep freezer. And in this, I have a month's worth of prepped food that's either a complete meal like lasagna or a sauce, chili, ground meat that's already stir fried and ready for tacos and things like that, or even a marinated picnic cut pork roast type thing that I make sometimes in my crock pot as pulled pork. Kids eat it like sandwiches, or you can eat it over your greens. As you all know, life is hectic and crazy, especially with the homeschooling. Working with all these different ages means I'm actively schooling in the morning, but in the afternoons, which used to be free for me, I'm often working with the older kids, even though I might not be teaching them like I'm teaching the younger kids. I'm overseeing their work, I'm answering their questions. Sometimes I'm helping them to revise their writing and trying to get them back on track. Once we're done with that, it's time for the activities. I've got a couple of daughters who have dance classes. One takes multiple dance classes during the week, so I'm dropping her off and I'm picking her up. My son plays soccer. He has practice every day of the week except for one, and games twice a week, sometimes on weekends as well. Then I have, my normal everyday household errands that I run. And what about ministry? So dinner and mealtime is such a hectic time for me, and we were managing it by buying a lot of prepared foods, having takeout more than I would like. It just wasn't healthy for any of us. If I partially prep the meal or create something that I can just drop into my crock pot, we can eat more wholesome foods. And if I'm not home at the time, someone else can pick up and make the meal. A freezer cooking video years ago and got a comment about, well, what about the harm that can come from putting hot foods in plastic and using aluminum pans? We know that a lot of studies have been done, and for the aluminum, they maybe have even seen a link between that and Alzheimer's disease. So we want to reduce how much we're using these things, but what do you freeze your stuff in? So I've sort of kind of modified that. I still freeze things in plastic containers. I've been scaling back the aluminum because when I was in Walmart the other day, I found out that I could purchase freezer safe stoneware. I know that people can freeze with glass, but I'm kind of concerned because as you move from the cold temperature to the hot temperature, that's when glass can shatter. So I bought a couple of stoneware lasagna pans and a couple of smaller pans that I put my meatloaf in. And so I'm excited to try that and see how it goes. I'm anticipating that it'll be fine. If it's not, I'll be back. So what I'll do is I'll take the food and I'll allow it to cool down as much as I can safely. You don't want to let food sit out for a long time before you actually freeze it. Then I'll put it in my plastic container or my stoneware container, and eventually I hope to have enough so that I'm using very little plastic. When it's time to use it, depending on what it is, I'll thaw it the night before in the refrigerator, or I'll run it under cold water so that it separates from the plastic, and then boom, drop it into my slow cooker. And so when it's time for me to serve the meal, I'm only prepping a salad or steaming some rice or steaming some vegetables to go with it, or breaking out some rolls or Italian bread to go with it. To have something planned out at the beginning of the month. It saves me time, money, and most importantly, it saves me anxiety. Like, I get that anxious feeling whenever the kids want to know what's for dinner, or even my husband says, so honey, what's for dinner? My heart starts pounding when I know I don't have a plan, and I know I don't have a whole lot of ingredients in my pantry, and this means I have to run to the store. And when you run to the store at the drop of a hat, 9 times out of 10, I am picking up more than what I intended to buy. So in trying to minimize the stress, I've planned ahead 2 meals for each day, because we eat our big meal at lunchtime since my husband works from home and the kids and I are typically all home. And then in the evening we have a meal that's more like lunch or a lighter version of what a dinner meal. This has also helped the kids because I posted the menu at the beginning of the month. This is what the menu is. You know, we have so many people in our family. Chances are somebody is not gonna like something that's happening sometime this month. You see the menu in advance, so you know, come here, boo-hoo now. Boo-hoo now. But on the day of, there's no boo-hooing because everybody knows this is what we're eating. So on a whole lot of different levels, this has made my life so much easier.